So yeah, in the beginning I was like, woohoo, I get to have a long weekend with my best friend. We're gonna learn some skills, do some sort of learning stuff. And I was hoping that mentally it would just be enough to sort of get me back on my path. This retreat, this planning session was insanely good. And I want to share a few things with you in case you'd like to get together with a friend to have a retreat, a reset, whether that's for your Mosaic work, your life, your relationships, whatever it may be. There's another reason why I'm sharing this idea with you today, and that is one of my main business goals for this year. I haven't exactly made a lot of progress on, and it's a big business goal as far as mentally big for me because I've put it off for so long, but I'm going to share what it is. I'm going to make a commitment to you and to myself that it's going to get done this year. Let's get to it. Welcome back. And if you're new here, my name is Julie. And on this channel, we talk about tips, tricks, tools, adhesives, materials, and specific Mosaic projects, all to shorten your learning curve when it comes to creating Mosaic art. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please consider subscribing. Last year I needed a reset button. Have you ever had one of those kind of years? And it wasn't just related to my Mosaic work. I was getting over a wrist injury which mentally and physically sidelined me from my Mosaic work, but also you throw a little life stuff in there and it just was not my best year. So I turned to my best friend Ginger, who owns a very successful marketing firm, and I shared that I needed a reset. I needed a fresh start, but I also needed an accountability partner. And it just so turned out that she was looking for the same thing in her life. She needed some sort of fresh start, but she also needed an accountability partner that would keep her on track, focused, and act as a sounding board. And so very quickly, we put together this idea that we would have a besties strategic planning weekend. So we would meet somewhere, we live 4 hours apart, so we would meet somewhere in the middle, and we would watch videos, and we would take tutorials or whatever, and we would just learn these sorts of skills and things that we've both been wanting to learn more about. So yeah, in the beginning I was like, woohoo, I get to have a long weekend with my best friend. We're going to learn some skills, do some sort of learning stuff. And I was hoping that mentally it would just be enough to sort of get me back on my path. But Ginger had other ideas, and I'm so glad she did, because what transpired in the lead up to that strategic planning weekend was amazing. She spearheaded the whole thing, and I was along as a passenger, and I'm so thankful for it. We started sharing our idea with friends, and everybody wanted to come along. Everybody that we shared this idea with wanted this for themselves. They wanted in. They wanted an invitation. It seemed everybody wanted a fresh start, a strategic planning session on their business, their career, their relationships, all of it. But ultimately, we decided to keep it just the two of us, and I'll get into that a little later in the video. There were a lot of pros in keeping it to just two people. So Ginger assigned homework to the two of us, and they were strategic questions on business and career and life. Just a bunch of things were covered. She also put together a list of podcasts that were going to get us in the right mindset leading up to that strategic planning weekend. And then she put together an agenda, and it covered everything so that nothing went unwatched, unnoticed, or unlearned. The planning retreat was insanely good, not just for my business and some new skills that I picked up, but also it's changed my mindset, and I don't really know how or why, other than there was just a snowball effect. I was in a much better mindset. I have continued now this year, and it has flowed over into other areas of my life. And I want to share a few things with you in case you'd like to get together with a friend to have a retreat, a reset, whether that's for your Mosaic work, your life, your relationships, whatever it may be. Because I can tell you, although initially the goal was focused on our businesses, the end result changed my mindset, like I said, and I don't really know how, but I'm so thankful of the impact it's had on me this year. There's another reason why I'm sharing this idea with you today, and that is one of my main business goals for this year. I haven't exactly made a lot of progress on, and it's a big business goal as far as mentally big for me because I've put it off for so long, but I'm going to share what it is. I'm going to make a commitment to you and to myself that it's going to get done this year, but I'll talk about that a little later in the video. This retreat or this planning session made such a big impact on the two of us that we are going to plan to do it annually and hopefully build up to doing it twice a year. But I want to share some things with you that we planned so that if you want to get together with your business bestie or your Mosaic bestie or your yoga bestie, whatever it is, I'm going to share some tactical information that you can take and run with and create your own agenda and just wonderful retreat with that special person. And I'll also share a free resource for you that you're able to use and recreate your own retreat or reset weekend. It is so good. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. So a little backstory on my best friend Ginger. We met in college. It was her first day of college, and she sat behind me in our Computers for Communication class, which we all bonded over because that class, the professor. Anyways, and we both interned at Disney World together, and so many things have transpired, and we also both started our businesses the same exact year, which has been over 25 years ago. So we've both been well-versed in each other's businesses. I've always gone to her as my sounding board for bouncing ideas off of her, and she's done the same with me. She's taken a few of my Mosaic classes. I've helped her with some of her clients. So we both see and understand each other's businesses while still remaining objective. So when it came to this retreat, we were laser focused and we approached this idea as if we had spent thousands of dollars to go to a conference. We took it seriously. When you're trying to decide where to have your retreat, a neutral location is ideal because then neither of you are pulled to see friends and family, run errands. It just gives you a nice neutral place. So work together to pick out a location. Now Ginger picked out a couple dozen listings on Airbnb and we narrowed it down to this adorable cottage in Naples, Florida. And just as an aside, the entire back of the cottage in the main living area was glass doors. And there were at times when we would be working there and discussing or watching videos or, whatever, a deer would run past the glass doors. And it was so cool. Like we would stop in our tracks just like the deer stopped in its tracks. And it was so awesome to see wildlife that close up. The backyard of the cottage is an actual forest, so it's just beautiful. Now, if you do plan a Mosaic retreat, keep in mind you might want to do your Mosaics outdoors because of the cutoffs and mess, so a patio or deck would be perfect for that. Now, this cottage we were at had a covered back patio, but it was cold and raining all weekend, so we didn't get to enjoy it. Okay, so back to the cottage. We arrived and settled in for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then immediately we got to work going over our homework. This set the foundation and areas of focus we wanted to work on over the long weekend. We're both into marketing, and knew that this was going to be an area we both wanted to heavily focus on. So that's why this retreat worked so well for us. We had a common denominator. So to put that in Mosaic terms, for instance, if you're wanting to do a Mosaic retreat, you might both want to, let's say, work on glass mosaic, and you both want to learn how to cut stained glass with a glass cutter. But you want to use different colored glass colors and different designs and different substrates. That's okay. Your common denominator is that you're both learning how to cut glass with a glass cutter. And of course, if you want to do a mosaics retreat just to get together with someone else who loves mosaics and you're learning everything you possibly can, then that's perfectly okay too. I'm just giving you an example if you do want to actually cut glass or make a mosaic over the span of a weekend. So Ginger and I worked on learning more about marketing and social media. By watching videos and tutorials, we researched blogs and online posts. We looked for experts in the area of social media and immersed ourselves in learning. Now, something you could do on your mosaic retreat would be to watch videos. I've got a bunch on my channel, shameless plug, which teach you different skills towards your ultimate goal. We were able to discuss other ideas which were part of our individual goals and bounce ideas off of each other as well. There was lots of note-taking and putting our new skills into practice. We were able to learn these skills and adapt them to our specific niche. You want to make sure when you do a retreat like this that you and your partner are in a similar place. For example, if you wanted to have a mosaic retreat, it's helpful if you're both at the same skill level. So if you're watching videos to learn techniques, that you're both able to grasp it and keep at the same pace, so that the same learning curve is consistent or thereabout. We would take breaks, much like you'd have it if you were attending a conference, and during those breaks we did this really cool thing where we would pull a few cards from a deck created by Gabby Bernstein. Each card was beautiful and inspirational, and it was a fun way to reinforce the idea that we were forging new paths in our lives and businesses, and that we weren't alone in doing all of this. It's also really important that you're able to handle constructive comments and help from your retreat partner, that you trust your partner. I know that may sound serious or a little, yeah, whatever, even if you're just there to make mosaics. But you just want to make sure the goal is for both of you to have success with your goals throughout this retreat. Whether that's learning skills, making a complete mosaic, or having a life reset. I respect Ginger so much, and I know that no matter what she says to me, it's coming from a safe place of respect, kindness, empathy, and love. She just wants to see me excel, and that's the kind of vibe you want from your retreat partner. There's a lot of vulnerability that can happen at a retreat like this. And if you aren't able to get away for a reset, think of a way that you can carve out some time locally to get together with your retreat bestie, your partner, whether that's to learn mosaic skills, make mosaics, or for a life reset. You don't have to go out of town to make a big difference in the path that you are on. I was also able to film and photograph a few of my mosaic pieces for upcoming videos and posts, so that was a lot of fun as well. If you have mosaic art which you've been meaning to photograph, then it might be a great way to get that done with a different, inspiring background. Now, I didn't mention food yet, and we kept it pretty easy. Before we arrived at the cottage, we stopped at Target and picked up some snacks and supplies for hot chocolate and chai lattes and, all the good stuff. And then we only went out to dinner once, I think. And that was for Thai food. And it was so good that we ordered a second meal to go, which covered lunches for a few days. And one night we ordered pizza, which provided us with more leftovers. So pretty much all of those meals were covered. And then Ginger surprised me with a box full of gluten-free baked goods from this sweet bakery in her hometown. So that was fun and delicious. Now, after the retreat, we were back home, getting back into the flow of our lives. And one thing we committed to was having a bi-weekly Zoom or FaceTime call to keep each other accountable and to help troubleshoot any challenges that may have come up. It's an ongoing relationship, this retreat planning weekend. And honestly, Ginger and I talk, chat, and text every single day. We celebrate each other's wins, both big and small, and we are each other's biggest fan. And as I mentioned earlier, I have a free resource for you. It is so good. Ginger wrote a blog post where it's so thorough. All you have to do is change out the niche or the reason why you want to get your bestie together for a strategic planning weekend or a retreat or a reset or whatever you want to call it. It is so thorough, and it'll get you on the path as far as giving you some boundaries or an outline to go by when planning your own session. It's so good. In fact, I think she has the link to the Airbnb cottage that we rented in case you're in Florida. It's such a magical place. The host is a sweetheart, and we will definitely be back to visit that. And lastly, earlier in the video, I said that there was a business goal that I wanted to meet, and I have had a hard time doing that. It has been on my list for years, and I just can't seem to find the motivation. I don't know why, because it's something I love to do, but I've just not been able to rise up to it. It gets me emotional even just thinking about it. And that is that this goal is that I have got to clean up my studio. What you see going on behind me is not a reflection of what's going on in my space. And it's kind of surprising because I've always been known as the neat freak, and I've really let things go. You will see that in a future video. But I've got to get it done. I see so clearly how the mess that I'm working in is affecting my mental health. It's affecting my mindset, my productivity, and I want to give that gift to myself. I want to return to a part of me that I really loved, and I know other people asked me to help them also in organizing and getting their spaces together, and which I gladly did, all hands on deck, but for some reason I just haven't been able to do it for myself. Maybe it's a form of self-sabotage, I don't know. But anyways, this is the year. I'm gonna get it done, and you will get a tour of the studio. In fact, it is on the calendar for December. So I have to get it done by December, and I will document it all along the way. I will also give you a tour at the end. But this is the year. I'm publicly stating it. I know it probably doesn't matter to you, but it matters to me. And I think I will show up even better if I am happy in the space I'm in. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And if you have a goal that you want to share, that you want to meet this year, whatever it is, even if it's, yeah, I'd love to do a besties retreat weekend, or I really want to make this mosaic, let me know in the comments. I would love to know what you're up to, what you want to do. You know, it'll make me feel maybe like I'm not so alone in this. And I would love to hear what you're up to. Bam, what? Right? We're looking good. too close? I don't think I'm too close. Okay. Let me start over. Come on now. Let me start over. It's so thorough, you could take it and create, oh, hello. I'm getting a package. Let me start over. For more Mosaic inspiration, check out one of these two videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.